Hello, hello. Hope you guys are doing fantastic today. So 3.27 is almost upon us, and this is the time. This is the time where we're going to start making content for PoE1 again after a short break between PoE1 and PoE2. In this video, I would like to show you guys, generally speaking, what the league is going to be all about, like what they added to the game, and also the most importantly, it's going to make a short summary, right? Because we're not going to be talking about like everything, but most importantly is what I want to talk about is how it's going to affect my builds. Because I'll be honest with you, I wanted to do something else. Obviously, I've been kind of like basically playing a strength stacker league start for 2 leagues now. Previously in the free share event, now and previously in the mercenary league. Uh, this league is literally just pure buffs for my builds, nothing else. There is no nerfs whatsoever. We're just like literally getting purely buffed. And when we're living in an environment where like meta builds getting killed left and right? Volcanic Fissure of Snaking is pretty much dead. Like Bama is dead. Like Trickster is going to be much worse. Then this is pretty good news. But anyway, let's jump into it. So what's going to happen in 3.27 is basically this is going to be like a big breach rework, which is really exciting because not gonna lie, breach is my favorite league since pretty much what was that, patch 2.5? Holy moly, that was like 8 or 9 years ago or something like that. But long story short, they said that they wanted to keep it breach more or less the same. So it's going to be like still simple mechanics. You're still going to walk through like there's these portals, right? You're still going to walk over these portals. You're going to open the breach. You're going to kill monsters. That's all there is to it. That's how simple it's going to be. But they added additional mechanics. For example, there is this special mechanic where sometimes you're going to be like, running through the map and you're going to find this weird kind of fortress something, and then you're going to get into Hive Fortress, this area, and this basically functions kind of like a breach stone. I'm not even sure if you additionally will still have breach stones. I'm pretty sure you will still get the splinters from the breach mechanic, right? But at the end of these fortresses, you will be able to fight like 2 bosses at the same time, right? So for example here, 2 on Ash at the same time, and they're going to be dropping loot. Additionally, one of the biggest factors of this league is the new crafting system, and we have like the tree over here. And how this basically works is that you're going to be, it's kind of going to be like Necropolis League without the unnecessary like clunkiness. So you're going to be like basically creating these items from the scratch, and depending on what points you're going to invest into, you're going to be more likely to get like additional modifiers that you're looking for. So it's going to be very interesting mechanic, but this over here is partially the reason why we got buffed so hard, because there's going to be something I'm going to talk about. Additionally, you're going to have 2 slots on your like back. They're going to be like attached to you or something like that. With these hands, and I do believe they will be able to be rare, and will have up to 4 mods, maybe more, but from the teasers we saw only 4 mods. And basically these will be additional damage boosts or like power boosts depending on what stats you need, because they're gonna have a different random modifiers. So for example, once again, this is great. Like usually what I would be looking for on the builds from the previous league that I did, so like Brutus of Divine Judgment and in Inquisitor, the stat that you're looking out for the most is attack speed, additionally maybe crit strike multi. So you will be able to get some additional damage from these hands. Kinda we're gonna treat them like, I don't know, like additional jewels basically, right? So this is going to be like a nice damage boost. And on top of that, which is I think the most important thing, I'm going to find it in a second. Oh yes, this is the reason. No, not the Quill Rain necessarily, but this is the reason why we got buffed so disgustingly hard. Most of my builds, at least from the previous league, use unique items. Very cheap unique items, at least for the league starter. Inquisitor is a little bit different, but yeah, we're gonna get to it. And what you will be able to do with this crafting mechanic I mentioned before is you will be able to like grow your unique items. And sometimes these unique items will become Foulborn unique items. which basically means that they're gonna lose one of their modifiers, and they're gonna get something additional, something else on top of that. Like for example, over here you see Foulborn Zov's Blood that has Elemental Overload, or Foulborn Gold Rim, which has, instead of all resistances, that's like some crazy amount of chaos resistance, right? This is absolutely insane. This is going to be absolutely crazy on builds that use a lot of unique items, because you will be able to like additionally customize your build in many other ways. Like we don't even know like exactly, like we know that you will be able to, I do believe, to like craft basically every single item apart from like boss unique items, I guess, this way, and you will be able to give them like additional modifiers, or like change some modifiers that they had to something else, which is crazy. It really is crazy. It is really interesting. This kind of reminds me of 3.16 Scourge League, where we could crangle the unique items and add additional, very useful sometimes modifiers to them. This is going to be so exciting, because, at least to me, because I was always like a big fan of unique items, pretty much since the very old days, like in the Diablo 2 days. It was always something fun about finding a unique item and seeing what it's gonna do, right? I always, I don't know, prefer the unique items more in ARPGs than the rares, which rares in PoE too in PoE are very very strong, but this mechanic definitely is going to be super interesting, and for the people that use a lot of unique items in their builds, that might be a gargantuan damage boost or power boost overall. I'm kind of surprised that I saw like quite a few videos now and nobody's talking about this. Nobody like even mentioned that this is going to be like a unique item league, which I do believe it is going to be. It is going to be very much so, and you will be able to like get some very nice effects. I saw, for example, there was this jewel. Unfortunately I don't have it open right now, but there was this jewel that was basically Red Dream before, and it had Foulborn modifier that 100% of your fire resistance in radius is will also apply to maximum life. That is insane. That is completely insane. That means that, for example, if we're gonna have a passive tree over here, right? That means that over here you could turn these nodes into fire resistance too, and get this fire resistance over here, and get resistance over here. You get like 70 or 80% maximum life from this one jewel. And that's just one item, right? I'm assuming, since it's a breach item, it's probably like one of the most powerful ones on the powerful side, but still, that is ridiculous. On top of that, we have new skills and support gems. These hands that I mentioned before that are going to be like stat sticks, they also have some additional modifiers, but not necessarily sure if this is going to be like, if it's going to scale really hard. But we have some new skills and support gems. I will be honest with you, I am not exactly excited about these, because there's just no melee stuff in there. no melee at all. And I know like we had melee rework like some time ago, and it will be, I guess, a little bit greedy to ask for like more melee stuff, but at the same time, yeah, there's like something for archers, for bow characters. There's something for wand characters, I think, and that's pretty much it. So they didn't really add that much. So yeah, if you're into this type of thing, then there is definitely, you can check the list and what these skills will be doing. I bet they're going to release the gems information soon, and you can check them out and see for yourself if there's something interesting. Another thing that is extremely exciting is Bloodline classes. And basically what Bloodline classes do, how this works, is you will be killing bosses, endgame bosses throughout the game, right? So you're going to be killing King of the Mist, you're going to be killing all in Delve, you're going to be killing Lycia and Sanctum, all that stuff, right? And they basically added 10 ascendancies, additional ascendancies, that every single class in the game will be able to use. And the only, after you kill the boss, right, respective boss, the restriction is that it will take the points from your ascendancy, your base ascendancy point pool. So for example, you will be able to put 6 points into the ascendancy of your choice, and then you will be able to put like 2 points into like Tree from Trial Master or something like that. Like you can see over here, right? You're gonna be able to like put 2 points over there, 2 points over there. And I'm going to be talking about these ascendancies a little bit more in detail when I'm going to start making videos about my League Starter. But oh boy, Like this is especially devastating. Maybe not so much for my league starter, which is going to be Brutus of Divine Judgment, but this is going to be absolutely devastating on Inquismiter, because Inquismiter basically I uses like 4 skills, like literally 4 skills. Like I'm gonna show you. It uses Righteous Providence and Instruments of Virtue. The remaining 4 points are literally like, pretty much free to spend, because like there is like nothing really interesting after that. So keeping that in mind, like this is absolutely disgusting actually. And apart from the fact that like all my builds use so many new items, there's like power boost over there. This is just going to get stupid, right? So I mean, here for example, you can see this is a very interesting one, the one from King of the Mists, because these nodes basically read +1 ring slot after after you invest 2 points into that unseen hand. But this reads as you cannot use flasks. This one is you cannot use belts, and this one you cannot use amulet. Which admittedly, the amulet one is just completely devastating. But maybe, just maybe, there are some builds where, for example, you don't really get that much power from flasks. So you could, for example, sacrifice using flasks and get yourself additional ring slot, which this would be absolutely devastating. I don't think I have to tell you for like a very end game stat stackers, because of how ridiculously powerful helical rings get. So it's going to be really interesting. I checked 9 ascendancies, these bloodline ascendancies so far. They didn't reveal the last one, which is going to be like a breach one. And they are mostly interesting. Some of them I would say are a little bit underwhelming, but still, super cool like thing that they added, and this will definitely add variety to the game. So that's huge. Another huge thing that is absolutely massive is Asynchronous Trade. And basically, for you guys that don't know, this is basically imported kind of from PoE 2. They added this to PoE 2 this league. And what it does is that you basically can put your items kind of like an auction house, right? You put your items in your stash, you price them at, like, for example, five divines or something like that. Someone literally just walks over and buys it. That's it. You don't have to trade, you don't have to interact, nothing like that. They just click from the site, they go into your hideout, they just buy the item. That's it. That done. It's like the craziest like trade change that I didn't think that they're ever gonna make a change like that, but there it is. So they decided that the old clunkiness, I guess, should go. So this is absolutely, this alone, by the way, like I saw many people that said that even if they only added this change, this would be, they will be solved. They would, like, play League and they will be fine, right? And after that, we have new Uber boss fights. Basically, the boss fights, the bosses that they added last league from the 16.5 content maps and stuff like that. They're gonna be Uber versions now, and obviously they're gonna be much harder with additional unique items added to the game. I do believe in patch notes they said that they added more than 20 unique items this league, which is quite a lot. Not gonna lie. I'm kind of curious to see what they're gonna be. They teased, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 of them. Excuse me. But yeah, I'm really excited to see like what the rest of them is gonna be. And after that, a lot of quality of life changes. You can check them out for yourself. They are very, very good, very useful. But I don't want to make this video too long, so let's just jump into my explanation of why I think it is a fact why my builds from last league got buffed ridiculously hard. Alright, so first of all, when we're talking about Brutus of Divine Judgment, and I know, some of you right now might have like a smirk on your faces, and you guys are gonna be like, oh, it's a strength stalker, you can't start, like, league start as a strength stalker. I did league start this character last league. We were face tanking, like literally AFK, doing AFK Searing Exarch day 1, I think after like 15 hours, which is, I'm a really slow player, so this build absolutely was fine. I wouldn't call it an S tier build, an S tier league starter, but I would definitely call it an A tier league starter last league. This league, it honestly might be at the verge of S tier at this point. It really might be. if at least if it's going to stay as cheap as it was, for 5 years now, because Brutus is basically one chaos. I don't know, 5 hours into the start of the new league. So the items for this build are ridiculously cheap always, and it basically never changes. But what exactly got buffed since the last time? So let's calculate all the changes, shall we? So number one, Gamahu's Flames Advance got +4 strength from +3. That alone is a pretty decent damage boost, because as you can see, the +3 one is giving you 22%, 22.4% damage. After the upgrade, it's going to be closer to 30% more damage. So, and additionally, we're gonna get like, I don't know, 126 life, I believe, something like that. So, on this POB at least. So, this is basically additional. It's going to be 85, 86 strength extra for free. That is nothing to sneeze at. That is like a straight up buff, especially when we live in an environment where meta builds are getting destroyed. So for us, pure buff, right? Additionally, the thing I mentioned before about the hands will be very, very good, because this build doesn't have very easy time getting a lot of crit multi. I do believe we will be able to get some stats, very important stats for us, like crit multi and attack speed on these hands, on these breach hands. So that is a very nice boost. Of course, everyone's gonna get that, but we're gonna get it too. So there it is. Number 3, as I mentioned before, this is going to be mostly beneficial for Inquismiter. But you could absolutely, these points on this build are mandatory, the 90 all res and the fire resistance. This is mandatory. You could sacrifice this. This is going to be a loss of regeneration, and you're still going to have quite a lot of regen without that, and it's not going to be that big of a deal. You could absolutely still do without this. You could, for example, drop that and get something from the Bloodline Ascendancies. You could absolutely do that. You could even do the, there is a one Ascendancy node from Owl, from the Bloodline Ascendancy, that says if you don't have any gems in your boots, you have basically unstoppable. Without the cannot be stunned. You have action speed cannot be modified to below base value, and movement speed cannot be modified to below base value. So that's insane, right? That is potentially like, every class in the game now can be a juggernaut. And this is not necessarily a build that is very starved for passive points. So this is something you could do. You could mix and match. There's, I bet, some other very interesting combinations, but we still don't know what the breach one is going to be. But this is 2 points that you could sacrifice. Once again, it's going to get disgusting on the Inquisitor, because then my Inquisitor build only uses 4 points pretty much, and that's it. So yeah, so there is some potential here that you could do with this. But as I mentioned before, the most important thing that is going to be devastating is the fact that we will be able to create these Foulborn unique items, because this build uses so many unique items. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, plus additionally some. You could drop in some unique jewels if you wanted in here. Not a big deal at all. And yeah, it's just like all of them pretty much are so cheap to get. Wrath Pit is like, on the league start, of course, nothing too crazy. Iron Fortress, even Iron Fortress in the beginning is very cheap. Last league, Iron Fortress was 10 chaos day 1. 10 chaos, right? So even assuming that it's going to be more expensive, there is like this scaling potential, right? There is possibility to scale this build so much harder than before. And even before, the version with Enmity that was stacking fire resistance, even before this build had 150,000 max hit plus 150 million Shaper DPS on Smite of Divine Judgment with a very good area. So even before, right? And in this league, it could potentially get even crazier. It will get even crazier because we just got straight buffed, right? And these unique items, these Foulborn unique items, are going to be very interesting and definitely a big damage boost, or defense boost, or whatever, just power boost overall. And once again, I'm kind of surprised that nobody is talking about that, because I think that this is truly going to be like a unique item league, where unique items are going to be extremely powerful potentially, and especially some of the Foulborn versions of them. So don't sleep on unique items this league, guys, because some of them might be really good. When it comes to unique items, for a second though, I do know that they said that the unique modifiers on items that are basically item defining are not going to disappear and they're not going to change. So for example, you're not going to see like a insanely broken stuff like, for example, I don't know, this reduced fire resistance from Enmity's Embrace is not going to disappear. It's not going to be gone, because that'll be like absurdly insane power creep, right? But yeah, that's basically it. You know, we're only getting buffed pretty much. I'm going to start making. I already started doing practice runs, and I have a really good practice run on this build. Of course, without the unique items, right? That was just like a, you know, full rare item run. But for me, it was really good because I'm an extremely slow campaign runner, and I did it. I finished the run in 4 hours 40 minutes 2 days ago on stream. So throughout the entire week, we're going to be theory crafting and running and doing practice runs, and then I'm going to let you guys know here, of course, on YouTube, the full, you know, build guide ish for this character, and also I'm going to show you guys what I did to go through the campaign as quickly as possible. My big assumption is that if I can do campaign in 4 hours 40 minutes, and I'm still, you know, going to try to improve that time, then someone actually good at the game could do that probably in like 3 hours and a half. With the same, that means that the build is good. It's just I'm slow, right? But the build is going to be absolutely fine. So yeah, this is what we're going to be doing this week. And that's pretty much it for now. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Once again, if you want to see how the runs are going, or you want to ask some questions about this build, because I do believe it's going to be very strong borderline S tier this batch, then you can join the stream and I'll be there, and feel free to ask questions as well as, you know, down in the comments. So thank you very much for watching, guys, and see you next time. Bye bye.